Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. Om. Salutations to Bhagavan Ramakrishna. We have today, before we proceed into the fifth and the last part of the Gospel recorder, M, as Mahendranath Gupta. Today is also Yoga Day, International Yoga Day. Also find that PBS had released a documentary on Vivekananda and how he brought yoga to the West, to the US. A few books had come also before that, especially one, Guru to the World, Vivekananda's Guru to the World. Sometime back, a few years ago, who brought yoga to the West in New York Times. Well, this was kind of building up, and the popularity of yoga, as you can see, is growing. Today, solstice, summer solstice, and also International Yoga Day. And Vivekananda brought yoga to the... but no, who's the face of yoga? Who is yoga? It is Ramakrishna. When he sees his picture, he says, this represents a high state of yoga. This will be worshipped in every home as time passes by. And today we find people everywhere, they are doing yoga. It's in a way worshipping Sri Ramakrishna. And also, if Sri Ramakrishna is yoga, that Vivekananda brought, this gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is the yoga scripture of this age. And the recorder of this gospel is Mahendranath Gupta, M, that we are grateful for his contribution to bringing this scripture here. He was, as we know, he had tremendous memory power, and he used that power to write down what he first-hand witnessed. So his work, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, started with a meditation. And that is also what we also need to do. We don't just read. We shouldn't read. We read a little and meditate on it. That will give us a deeper understanding of Sri Ramakrishna. Because as I say, he represents yoga. The book was a result of meditation. And our understanding of Sri Ramakrishna and the book will also proceed through meditation. It won't be a simple reading. Many people say, I've read. No, this is a continuous, you can say, spiritual discipline. Constant reading, meditating. M, the recorder, he was emphatic in his assertion that every word of Sri Ramakrishna is a mantra. And that gives an added dimension to this profound scripture. So when we read this, you are reading the mantras. It's like, it's a Veda. There's one Swami who gives a discourse on the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. He calls it the fifth Veda. There are the four Vedas, and then this is the fifth Veda. Because the Vedas are mantras, and this also is now a mantra. So that brings out this great, the profundity of this of this book. So we have seen initially he used to write drafts of it in Bengali, and then at times he used to expand it, translate it. And what he did was, the first translations started in 1885, in 1888. And he started expanding those chapters and into pamphlets. And in 1895, Swami Vivekananda started a magazine called Brahmavadan in Chennai, what is called Chennai. And he had started publishing these sayings of Sri Ramakrishna serially as leaves from the Gospel of the Lord Sri Ramakrishna. And he said in the subtitle, according to M, a son of the Lord and servant. So these were the first, you can say, writings. And it also means that M had begun translating his words from Bengali to English as early as 1895. So, and in 1907, he added a few more chapters to those series of, you can say, articles. And he had made it the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, he had made it. And then he had a subtitle, Or the Ideal Man for India and the World. In 1902, Swami Trigunatitananda, who was by then in San Francisco, he had published this same book, the early writings of M, by the Vedanta Society of San Francisco. It is still, I think it's still in print. I mean, there are some old copies here. And after 1942, what happened was, they kept on publishing it. Nikhilananda's translation, the one we are used to, overtook all translations. And it was so beautiful. So Chennai Much had then modified that the title into Condensed Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. So that in 1907, Swami Abhedananda was in New York, and M had sent some of the manuscripts to him also for him to edit and modify it accordingly and publish it, and which he did. And he mentions it. M wrote me letters authorizing me to edit and publish the English translation of his notes. So these were the earliest, you can say, English version. Abhedananda's edited version was translated into Spanish, Portuguese, Danish, Scandinavian, and Czech. Now it is published as Memoirs of Ramakrishna. There was, when Nikhilananda began translating, and it was superb and elegant. Okay? It was edited by Margaret Woodrow Wilson. She was the daughter of President Woodrow Wilson. And there was another very famous, you can say, scholar, Joseph Campbell. We all have heard of Joseph Campbell. So they edited it. John Moffat Jr., he was a kind of a poet and very mystical poet. He went through the songs and made them into what is called, what we find today, very beautiful poetry. I mean, there has never been a translation of the Bengali songs into English in such superb, you can say, diction and style. Aldous Huxley wrote the foreword, and that perked up the interest of the world of the scholars. And he himself used to go around to different places with his diary, the one we had it was more like, maybe he was a cryptographer or something like that. Very cryptic, you can say, words. I tried to read a few times, but there are some words in English you can find he used, but it was only known to him. So he wrote it in code and he would decode. At one time he had gone to one center in Calcutta called Gadadhar Ashram. And on his way back, and in those days we had those trams, tram cars. So he left one diary which he was carrying with him and he's saying, when I returned home, I found I had left the diary in the tram, and I don't know somebody will pick it up, throw it out, destroy it. And for 2 days, he was so troubled. It's like he's saying, it's like losing a son that becomes so dear to him, so intense. And he prayed, he searched all over. Finally, he got to that company, and they could trace that book, that diary, and give it. He was so happy. So this is something like the diaries, the notes that he used to take. Okay. So this was the original. I have seen them in this house when I had gone there. But they are preserved nicely. Now, we find Sri Ramakrishna, his words being preached everywhere. But there's an invocation in the beginning. And those who have been following the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna classes on Wednesday will find that we chant opening verse. The verse is from the Bhagavatam. Tava katamritam tapta jivanam kaviviriditam kalmashapaham, etc. So it means, O Lord, your nectar-like words relieve the burning misery of afflicted souls. Your words, which poets have sung in verses, destroy the sins of worldly people forever. Blessed are they who hear of your vast glory. Blessed indeed are those who speak of you. How unparalleled is their bounty. See, somehow this verse, opening verse, taken from the Bhagavatam, mainly from the Gopi Gita, is so appropriate because he had called the original Katamrita, that is nectar-like words, elixir. And this word, he found it in the Bhagavatam, Katamritam. And it's really, it relieves the burning misery that afflicts all souls. The people say, oh my God, life is miserable. So I tell them, read the gospel. I say, that's the best. They say. So what more do you want with that? Slowly, see, he spent almost 50 years of his life from this first meeting with Sri Ramakrishna till the very end on this project, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. So he first met him and then he started recording these words. He used to get affirmation, he used to read the translated versions from his notes to Holy Mother. And Holy Mother, one time, she was asking his wife, Nikunja Devi, and there was Golapma. This is 1905. So Holy Mother commented, it's not a small thing to remember the Master's words and ideas and then write it down. I wholeheartedly bless M Let his books spread everywhere and let all people know him. And this is what we find today. Mother's words are coming. So there was a reading one time in say in 1905 only. And Holy Mother was sitting absorbed. Golapma Nikunja Devi, M's wife, and some other women were there. After some time, Holy Mother said, how wonderful, how the Master Mahashaya, that is M, kept these teachings in his mind. Did he go to the Master with a pen and with a paper and pencil? Pen. So his wife says, no, Mother, he would write these things from his memory. And Holy Mother says, what a powerful brain he had. He wrote all these things from memory. So Golapma, there was another Holy Mother attendant saying, oh, Naren, that is Swami Vivekananda also had a very powerful mind. Holy Mother says, he had a different kind of power for lecturing, writing, etc. M has another kind of power. So here it is. And Mother says, tells his wife, give your husband more milk. Now, that's something what we say, which is supposed to increase the mental power. I have seen older monks telling the junior monks also, if you are meditating, if you are leading a very meditative life, you need to drink milk, okay? Okay. And Holy Mother says, what a great service is giving to the world. And as the reading continued, the Master, saying the Master's telling money, that is one of the synonyms of M. You are all my relatives. The Holy Mother commented, yes, everyone is in his inner circles. So those who came to Sri Ramakrishna, they felt themselves related to Sri Ramakrishna. And Mother confirmed it. One incident is, as reading the translation, Keshav Chandra Sen was coughing towards the end when he was not well. So Holy Mother's sister-in-law, she was that crazy aunt, Radhu's mother. So he said, why did M write such a thing? Like Keshav was coughing. What's that? Holy Mother said, what do you know? It has a purpose. So everything has a significance in the one. There's nothing that is superfluous. Even something like Keshav is coughing. What does that got to do? That also is significant. And then when M is describing Sri Ramakrishna's samadhi, and he's mulling over some thoughts when he's seeing Sri Ramakrishna in that state, Holy Mother confirmed, yes, M's thinking is correct. She tells his wife, my daughter, tell your husband that I'm blessing him wholeheartedly. Here we have. All through in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, he's trying to hide his identity. He wants to just keep himself in the background. So he has pseudonyms, different pseudonyms like Mani and Master, Mahini Mohan and all these a servant, a devotee, an Englishman. He was trying to hide behind all these characters. But now the whole world knows him. He was trying to hide, but now he is known all over the world because of this great work. It has made him immortal. So, Swami Vivekananda, Girish Ghosh, who also, we have seen Swami Vivekananda praising it. Girish Ghosh also, he was a dramatist, he was a man of letters, that is a great command over the language, both English and Bengali, and he was a literature. So he says, you deserve the gratitude of the whole human race to the end of days. So here he sees the you can say, spiritual value of this book. What happened after Sri Ramakrishna passed away? We've seen that he was there during the cremation, and then he used to visit the early monastery and used to continue recording things as he used to do it with Sri Ramakrishna. So that's why in the appendix and the later chapters of the Gospel, you find him interacting with Swami Vivekananda and the others in the conversations. He also visited the holy places, all the pilgrim places, places associated with Sri Ramakrishna. And as you see, he was a very good teacher. And what happened was, in time, it was recognized by the academia in Calcutta. He was recognized as an educator. And this is speaking quite highly of him. So he used to work first. He started his career in a place which is now in Bangladesh, and then he was transferred here to Calcutta, working under Pandit Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, who was a very great man in those days. One of the great reformers of that time. So he was working in the school, and he became a headmaster later. And we find him then running his own school. So he bought a building and he started his own school, and he was very successful. He also, whatever money he used to receive as salary, etc., he used to support Holy Mother. He used to send her, I think it was monthly contributions. You know, these old postal money orders, he used to send it to them. When Swami Vivekananda was in the West, and also during his wandering days, itinerant days, he used to secretly send money to Swami Vivekananda's mother to support the family, because they were without any support, without anything. The most promising son had left and become a monk. And it was, Swami Vivekananda says later, he has put me under eternal, you can say, obligation. He supported, and this he did it with few other devotees also. Quietly used to contribute something for it. So he became a very big educator, and he started his own school, and they used to call him, he became a rector of that school, called Mr. Rector, they used to call. His eldest son then took over and became a principal, headmaster, not a principal. And so he called that school Morton Institute. And he used to stay in that school building, and he used to live there and also come to his old house, which is called Thakur Badi. That's the house of Sri Ramakrishna, house of the master. So thus he spent all his time there, as well as he used to meet all the devotees. People used to flock to him. And like he used to record, to memory of course, Sri Ramakrishna's words, there were others then, they were recording. They never depended solely on memory, but they used to take down notes. His conversations about Sri Ramakrishna, that has come out in 16 volumes. It's a major work. And Apostle and Evangelist. That was so these books are available, and they form a kind of an extension of Sri Ramakrishna's, you can say, additional teachings which you find him that have come. So even towards the end, in 1932, so you say, he is one of his disciples. He used to He had his own disciples, and some of them were monastics. So he said, I was busy throughout the day with various things. And one day I was reading, I came back late at home, and he had been to the printers, etc. And I saw at early morning, 1 a.m. He was now 70, 75 or 76, proofreading them. You can say, in those days we had this galley proofs, and we had to proofread and send it back to the printer, and then they used to put it into that, these old printers, like letterpress it's called. Oh my God. So he was reprimanding him, saying, your health is not good. Why are you doing this? He says, people find peace by reading this book, the Master's immortal message. It is inevitable that this body will meet its end. So it is better that it is used for spreading peace to others. We are in this world and have utterly experienced how much pain there is. Yet I have forgotten that pain through the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. I am hurrying so that the book may come out soon. So he finished those proofs, but he could not see the final portions of the volume that was in press. In June 1832, he was feeling a little uncomfortable. He was at that school, the Morton Institute, and he wanted to come back to his house. And he was feeling pain in his stomach, and he had to sit down on the footpath to kind of feel a little, you can say, relief, or to wait for the pain to abate. And during the Falharini Kali Puja, he told some of the monastics, you go to that ashram, Gadadhar ashram, one of the ashrams of the Ramakrishna order, and do japa, because that's a Kali Puja, he's saying. It's very auspicious. He's saying, one can achieve results of 1,000 years austerity by doing spiritual disciplines on this auspicious night. So that's why, we tell people, when auspicious nights are for doing spiritual disciplines, and they give a very bountiful, you can see, result. So here he says 1,000 years results in just one day. So the next day he had a little kind of dinner, rather supper, and he was feeling pain in his elbows, and they tried to alleviate that pain. Then it became excruciating. So he called one of his attendants and told to get the neighbors, and he also asked his nephew to come and see him. His eldest son, who was as a headmaster in the modern school, he was also called, and he comes. So his eldest son, two grandsons, etc., they find him lying down on the floor. It was June in Calcutta, is very hot, hotter and hottest. So, and so he was lying down. He turned on his side. He tried to sit down in a yoga posture towards the end, because that's the way one has to leave the body. And he's saying, Mother, my work is done. And he was perspiring. Somebody wiped the perspiration. And he began praying to his guru, that is Sri Ramakrishna, to Mother, take me back in your arms. And now you can see that he is ready to go. He is lying down. His upper body was bare, and at 4 a.m., that was in June 4th, the next day, 1932, doctor comes and he wants to give him a pill. maybe morphine or something like that. But he refused. He was fully conscious. See, throughout his life, he was reluctant to take service from others. And he saw that all the people have now gathered together, and so he told them, you could go to sleep, told his grandchildren, you can go to sleep, you don't need to be here. At 5:15, he threw up. And then he started becoming calm. He was having difficulty breathing, and then he's saying, this body will not last, and then, come on. He turned on his left side, and is in a very clear voice, Gurudeva and Mother, take me in your arms. And he passes away. This was, yes, early morning, 5:30 a.m. The news had spread, and by that time there were telephones there, the Belur Math telephone. Swami Shivananda, who was then the president of the order, it was informed, all the centers were informed. He sent special clothes and garlands for chadar for M. Now, those who have seen his house, which is now a center of the Ramakrishna order, the passage is quite narrow between two buildings. So his body was brought down and placed outside in a kind of pandal, shamyana. His wife, his children, his grandchildren all weeping, and his disciples and devotees all weeping. All the neighbors, etc. Continuously they were singing devotional songs, and then the puja was made over the body, etc., as we know. And despite the summer heat, people then carried the, you can say, body, the bier, down the streets towards the cremation ground. And the whole neighborhood came out in the procession. And then thousands upon thousands of people, they followed the body. This was kind of amazing. It wasn't a silent going. He made such a big splash. So everybody was chanting Jai Sri Ramakrishna, Jai Sri Ramakrishna, and everybody was barefooted. That's the kind of idea, barefooted. They took it to the school where he lived, kept it for a few moments, and the funeral procession resumed, and came to Kashipur. Now, Kashipur is the place where Sri Ramakrishna was cremated. And so he was cremated there. After the whole ceremony, everything was over, his eldest son did all this, the funeral obsequies, and there was monks from Belur Math, they were chanting Vedic mantras, etc. And Swami Shivananda had sent a directive. M's ashes will be placed in Belur Math. So that was the directive given. So after cremation, the ashes were collected. And today, if those who have been there to that cremation ground where Sri Ramakrishna, there's a monument to Sri Ramakrishna where he was cremated. Just beside it, there's another smaller one of M, the gospel. So you can see it from the other side of the, if there's no haze, of course, from the other side of the Ganges, from Belur Math from the side. And we have also nearby Swami Abhedananda's monument there. So M's remains were brought to Belur Math in that urn. And you know where it is kept now? It's kept in Swami Vivekananda's temple. I remember reading about it, but then one time the the pujari, that is the monk who is doing puja in Swami Vivekananda's temple, he in a conversation he's saying, whose ashes are there? Swami Vivekananda is there, M's is there. Oh, then I remembered, okay, so his ashes are interred in Swami Vivekananda's temple there. There are others also, but then. So thus his remarkable life was over. As I said, from the day he came to Sri Ramakrishna, to about 50 years, he worked on this gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. And that, as I said, is the scripture on yoga. At the colophon of every chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is saying, Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Samvadi. So, it's saying that this is the Brahma Vidya, this is the science and knowledge of Brahman, the scripture on yoga. This is the dialogue between Arjuna and, you can say, Krishna. The same thing he said, the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna is science of Brahman. It's a scripture on yoga. It's a dialogue between Sri Ramakrishna and and other devotees also. This will be the great contribution to M's contribution to humanity. It has no doubt been much lauded and much praised. And not only that, people swear by it now, that this is what has led them to God. It's not difficult to believe that, because what happens, you see it, if you read the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, and his life itself and his works is a kind of an appendix to the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. And this is the book I was following. Mahendranath Gupta, the recorder of the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. This is it will be more like a companion volume of the Gospel. And of course, his other books like an Evangelist, 16 volumes. Okay. We stop here for questions. Okay, yeah. Before we can go there, tomorrow at the Tapovan, we have a Karma Yoga, at 10 a.m. Those who are interested to go and serve Sri Ramakrishna in the form of doing Karma Yoga, you can go to the retreat at Tapovan at Arlington. Sunday, we have 11 forms of superior devotion, 10 a.m., followed by a QA. And also we have mothers, children at 9:50. The questions. Though considered the best translation, I have read that there are some inaccuracies in Nikhilananda's Gospel translation. Is that true? It's not inaccuracies. In some, the manuscripts were there. Swami Nikhilananda did not translate it because at that time he felt it was not relevant to the American audiences. And he thought it was only meant for the American audiences. Now we know it's meant for everybody. So there is no inaccuracies. There are certain parts which were not translated and not very significant. But those were taken up by other translators like Swami Abhedananda, etc. So nothing is missing from the manuscript. Okay, we'll stop here for today. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Our next householder disciple will be Balram Basu. He was a great householder disciple whose house Sri Ramakrishna visited 100 times. So it's called my Calcutta parlor. He was a great household disciple. So the next in the series will be his life and works.